Hello everybody, this is Steve. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the mid-game bowler substitution process in BDSS. A mid-game substitute is when a bowler starts a game of bowling, maybe they roll the first 3 or 4 frames, but then is replaced by another bowler. For example, a coach in a tournament may decide that the initial bowler is not doing well and wants to replace that bowler with a new bowler. So this means it's going to take more than one bowler to complete a single game. With mid-game substitutions, a game owner must be tracked. The game owner is the one bowler who will get credit for the game, as well as the associated metrics such as final scores, average, high game, etc. And each frame must have a frame owner. The frame owner is the bowler who gets credit for rolling the frame, as well as associated metrics such as total strikes, spares converted, splits made, etc. BDSS will do this tracking for you. This is the 2-part video series on mid-game substitutions, and in this video I'm going to show you the general use of mid-game substitutes, where you can substitute a bowler mid-game while keeping the same game owner. In part 2, I'll walk you through changing the game owner. It's a very similar process, except changing a game owner has certain implications you should be aware of. Mid-game substitutes are supported for league, tournament, and open bowl, and for both regular and no-tap bowl. The process is the same for all types of bowling. For this tutorial, I created a new league called My Sub League. I'm going to start a new league week of bowling, and I'm only going to click Steve Bowler. Steve Bowler will be the game owner, and I'll use Lee or Taylor as my subs. So the first thing to take notice is the bowler name that is on the title. This will always be the game owner. If multiple bowlers had been selected, each bowler would have its own tab with their name, which is also indicates the game owner. And the up next link. The up next link indicates the bowler who will roll the next ball, and it's the primary way a mid-game substitute will be initiated. If you do not plan on using mid-game substitutes, you can hide the up next link by clicking the local menu settings, the little wrench on the bottom, and then selecting hide up next bowler. You can see it went away, but we are going to show up next bowler because we're going to wind up using it. So let's start by adding a few frames for Steve. Start with a 10 pin and a miss, and then maybe a 7-9, and picked up only the 9 pin, and then Steve's having a really bad day. He fouled and left a 6-10. So at this point, the coach decides to put in a sub for Steve. To do so, you could do that in 2 ways. You can either click the up next bowler, which will be the most common way, or in the current frame, long press the frame and select substitute bowler, which I'll use that for now. Click substitute bowler. Both options will open the same substitute bowler form. It's here where you'll select the bowler that will replace Steve. So click select substitute bowler, and what you'll see is a menu of available bowlers that can replace Steve. The names shown will only be the current game owner, which is Steve, or active bowlers who have not started the current game and were not already a substitute for this game for another game owner. Additionally, if this was a league, which this is, only league bowlers will be shown. So let's choose Lee, and for now, we'll keep Steve as the bowler assuming the current game score. This is where the game owner will change, or can change, but we'll demonstrate that in the second part of this video series. And finally, click the check mark. Now, notice the up next link changed to Lee Bowler. So Lee will get credit for the next frame rolled. And also notice on the title, Steve is still the game owner. Okay, so let's roll a few more frames under Lee. Strike. Let's say she did a 4-7 and made the spare, and she threw another strike. Okay, so to see that BDSS is tracking the frame owner, click the pins under frame 1. And remember, frame 1 was rolled by Steve. And then down on the bottom, you can see that the Steve rolled ball 1 and Steve rolled ball 2. Okay, so let's close out frame summary. Now let's click the pins under frame 4. And you can see that Lee is now the frame owner. And you can also tell that Lee rolled the ball 1. Okay, and you close out frame summary. And with that, you've successfully substituted Lee for Steve starting in frame 4. Okay, a few other scenarios where substitution can occur. A substitute can occur mid-frame, meaning one bowler starts a frame and another bowler finishes. So to demonstrate, let's assume Lee rolls a 9 count on the first ball. The coach decides to pull Lee and replace with a sub. So let's click the up next link, click select substitute bowler, and in this case we'll choose Taylor. And then notice in this example, BDSS needs to know who gets credit for the current frame score. Only one bowler can get credit for the frame metric. It defaults to the current frame owner, in this case that's Lee. So let's click Lee and notice only Lee and Taylor are available for selection. Let's keep Lee in this example. So Lee will remain as the current frame owner. And again, we're going to keep Steve as the current game owner, and then click the check mark. Notice Taylor is the up next bowler. He's going to finish out the frame, so let's spare the frame. And then if you click the pins under frame 7, you notice Lee is the frame owner, but BDSS is tracking Lee as the bowler who rolled ball 1 and Taylor as the bowler that rolled ball 2. However, all metrics will be associated with Lee. Another example where you can substitute a bowler is for past frames. For example, let's assume that Lee actually started substituting in frame 2 and not frame 4. You can go back and fix this. To do so, long click frame 2 and choose substitute bowler. Substitute bowler form will open. Click the select substitute bowler link, and in this case we're going to choose Lee. And then notice there's a checkbox, reflect sub in all following frames. If you check this, then Lee will become the frame owner for all the frames from frame 2 to the last frame bowled. If you did not check it, then Lee will only be set as a substitute for frame number 2. So let's check it. And again, we're going to keep Steve as the game owner, and then click the check mark. Notice Lee has become the up next bowler. And let's click the pins under frame 2, and you'll see that Lee is now the frame owner. And then let's close frame summary. And then let's click the pins under frame 3 just for good measure. And you will notice that Lee is the frame owner for frame 3. And then finally, let's click frame 1. And if you remember, Steve bowled frame 1, so Steve is still frame 1 bowler. The last example for when a substitute can occur is while editing a frame. Let's assume we need to edit frame 4. But first, notice that Lee is the up next bowler. Long click frame 4 and choose Edit Frame. Next, click the Up Next link. The substitute form will open, but notice how the only available field is to change the substitute bowler. You cannot select game owner when editing a frame. So let's select Taylor, and let's click the check mark. Notice Taylor is now the up next bowler, and let's assume Taylor rolls a strike. Notice that as we went back to frame 8, Lee is remembered as the up next bowler. Now, if you click the pins under frame 4, you see that Taylor was changed to the frame 4 owner. So you see it's that easy to substitute a bowler mid-game. Just a few more pieces of general information to share. The handicap stats bar will always show metrics for the current up next bowler. In this case, it's Lee. If the game is over, it will show metrics for all bowlers in total. the league average pins and games will show for the game owner. Secondly, you will be warned if you have frame ball attributes set for the current frame and then a substitute occurs. So to demonstrate, click select ball and choose a ball. I'll choose the Blizzard Hellfire. And that's going to set the frame ball attribute for frame 8 ball 1. And if you want to see that, you can click the frame ball attributes button here, and you can see frame 8 ball 1 is the Blizzard Hellfire. So let's close that. Now let's substitute in a new bowler. Okay. And I'm going to choose Taylor this time. And we click the check mark. And you can see you get a warning that the attributes were already set for frame 8 and ball 1, and it gives you an option to keep or delete. So in this case, for this example, I'm just going to delete. And you noticed the attribute was removed. You can click frame ball attributes just to verify that it has been removed. Okay. And then the third point is BFP, or ball finish position, is an individual preference. And depending upon who the up next bowler is, it'll enable or disable BFP for you. So I hope this helped. Please take a look at part 2 of this video series for a review of the mid-game substitutions and changing the game owner. Please send me any questions at tbefeedback@gmail.com, and I hope you have a great day.